just released a new update today. It is a small patch that is going to be in addition to the big matchmaking update that they have been hyping up, which will also be coming out this week, as they've said. So I just kind of wanted to read out this little patch beforehand, and I'll probably do another video when the big matchmaking update comes out as well. But I hope that you guys are all doing well. I know it's been a minute since I've done a Deadlock video. I'm kind of waiting for the next major update, but I am going to ease back into it with this matchmaking update. So let's take a look at what's going on in this minor update. General stamina bucket 3 heroes, slowest, have their ground dash time increased from 0.7 seconds to 0.72 seconds, and air dash time from 0.49 seconds to 0.51 seconds. So it seems like they made the slower heroes a little bit faster, which is always good because one of the main attractions of this game is the movement. And when it gets hindered in any way, especially just by choosing a character, it doesn't feel great, so that's probably a good change. The orb spawners in base that give 10 souls on hit now split to nearby players on expire. That's actually kind of interesting. I know a lot of people don't actually utilize those, and I myself don't. I don't, unless I'm like super close to an item. I'll stick around and shoot like 2 or 3 if I have the time. But now it looks like every time you go back to base, you'll just be getting some passive souls. That's actually pretty interesting. That might have some impact. I'm not sure, but I kind of like it. Fixed the party member / teammate audio volume slider for voice communications. Alright, let's move over to the items. Crushing Fists. Max stacks stun duration increased from 0.5 to 0.75, and bullet resist reduction increased from -4% to -5% per stack. The bullet resist reduction is actually pretty significant. That's a whole percentage point per stack, so that could be good actually. Cursed Relic no longer has -14% damage output innate, now applies a -25% damage output debuff for the 3.25 seconds duration. Am I crazy, or is that a huge buff to curse? That seems really like a huge buff. You will only have the damage output debuff for 3 seconds. So only when the enemy is cursed. Am I insane, or is that like, is there no downside to curse anymore? I don't know. I guess we'll see. If you see a lot more curses out in the wild, you know why. Diviners, Kevlar, the spirit power increased from has a 0.5-second post-cast time. No longer grants plus 5% fire rate. Cooldown increased from 35 seconds to 30 seconds plus the cooldown of the imbued ability. So, Echo Short kind of got nerfed pretty hard here, I think. The 0.5-second delay is going to hit some characters that use it harder than others. And the cooldown is kind of just an overall nerf. Not really too much to say here, I think. Some characters will still buy it, and some probably won't, just because of the cast time delay. You won't be able to do as much. Ethereal Shift cooldown increased from 35 seconds to 37 seconds. Frenzy now has plus 10% bullet lifesteal as an innate. Fury Trance active now grants a plus 1 meter movement speed. Active removes move speed penalty when shooting, like Fleetfoot. That's actually pretty cool. I don't know if Fury Trance needed that, but the item is definitely better now, and I do like anything that increases movement speed. I don't know if you guys played Smite at all, but that is the only MOBA that I really played seriously before Deadlock. And there was an item called Fatalis that removed the movement speed penalty when you auto attack. That's kind of what Fleetfoot and now Fury Trance remind me of. I don't know why I said that, I just felt like I had to express that sentiment. Okay. Life Strike. When hitting a trooper and a hero at the same time, it now always prioritizes healing off the hero. Same change for melee lifesteal. That's actually good, that makes sense. Mystic Shot cooldown reduced from 9 to 8 seconds. Spirit scaling reduced from 1.2 to 0.9. Interesting, okay. Restorative Locket. Heal per boon increased from 0.32 to 0.5. Scourge no longer grants plus 17% debuff resist innate bonus. Active now grants plus 20% debuff resist. Retroactive on application. Max health per second reduced from 2.5% to 2.3%. I haven't played in a little bit, but I've heard that Scourge has been Scourge on the meta currently, and it's kind of like dominating every game. I don't know how true that is, but that's just what I'm hearing. So, a nerf is probably warranted. Slowing bullets no longer grants plus 15% weapon damage. Weighted shots weapon damage reduced from 40% to 30%. Spiritual Overflow now provides a bonus plus 10% spirit lifesteal on proc. Ability duration reduced from 15% to 13%. Fire rate reduced from 32% to 30%. And then Spirit Burn looks like got changed quite a bit. No longer hits enemies in a 12-meter radius, only affects primary target now. Wow, that is a crazy nerf actually. Changed from the cooldown being on the item to being target based. Okay, so you can proc it more often, but it doesn't have an AoE. more often against other people, I suppose. Removed half cooldown against NPC. Explosion damage reduced from 110 to 50. Okay, so they nerfed the damage after the cooldown against NPCs. Made the cooldown target based. And it's no longer AoE. That seems like a pretty significant nerf. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like they really want you to buy it, specifically for the anti-heal properties instead of the raw damage. Which, I guess it's okay, but I don't know. That's a pretty big hit to Spirit Burn. Suppressor duration reduced from 5 to 4.5 seconds. And Tank Buster no longer procs off items. Cool, so those are the item updates for this patch. Let's go over some of the hero changes. Apollo. Riposte base stun duration increased from 0.6 to 0.8 seconds. And riposte tier 3 changed from plus 1.6 second stun duration to plus 60% bullet, spirit, and melee lifesteal against the target for 7 seconds. I don't know why they just can't figure out this ability. I don't really have much to say here. Apollo's my favorite hero, and they just can't figure him out. No more stunts, I guess. That was kind of like the whole point of maxing that ability, but whatever. Billy. Rising Ram, tier 3, reduced from 8% max health to 7%. That's just completely nothing. Billy's gonna be OP still. Calico. Ava, tier 2, reduced from 45% move speed to 40%. And Ava tier 3 reduced from 20% damage amp to 18%. Celeste. Shining Wonder radius increased from 16.5 meters to 17.5 meters. Shining Wonder damage increased by 10%. That's pretty significant. Shining Wonder buffer duration increased from 3 seconds to 3.25 seconds. Oh wow, looks like a lot of Doorman changes. Doorman bullet damage rescaled from 26.1.19 to 24 plus 1.25. So he scales better, but he's weaker early in the bullet damage department. Call bell charge time increased from 6 to 7 seconds. Doorway duration reduced from 20 to 15 seconds. Doorway tier 1 duration increased from 15 to 20 seconds. Tier 3 range reduced from 45 to 40 meters. Luggage cart damage reduced from 80 to 60. Luggage cart tier 1 increased from 60 to 80. Luggage cart range reduced from 25 meters to 20 meters. Luggage cart tier 2 increased from 20 meters to 25 meters. So, they kind of nerfed some of his abilities, but then they just put them back on his AP order. I don't really think this does anything for the Doorman problem, but I guess we'll see. It sounds like they just don't want him to be better at level 1. Or they want him to be worse at level 1, I should say. Okay, Drifter. Rend spirit scaling reduced from 1.8 to 1.7. Rend D3 silence duration reduced from 2.3 to 2 seconds. Dynamo singularity cooldown reduced from 265 to 250 seconds. Haze. Sleep Dagger wake up time spirit scaling reduced from 003 to 002. Is that going to do literally anything? I feel like that is such a small number. That's crazy. Okay. Sleep Dagger damage spirit scaling reduced from 2.8 to 2.2. That's pretty big actually. Sleep Dagger tier 2 changed from minus 17 seconds and applies 15 fixation stacks to plus 1 sleep duration, plus 1 second sleep duration, and applies 15 fixation stacks. Sleep Dagger tier 3 changed from plus 1 sleep duration and minus 50% move and dash speed for 3 seconds on wake up to minus 17 seconds cooldown and minus 15%, minus 50% move and dash speed for 3 seconds on wake up. Fixation tier 3 reduced from 0.14 per stack to 0.11, and fixation tier 3 now also scales with weapon damage. Truly I have no idea if this will do anything. To me, it just kind of doesn't seem like it will. Like they're reducing the fixation tier 3, but they're making it scale with weapon damage, so I don't know what the offset will be there. Or like the net negative, because I'm assuming they're looking to nerf it. But I don't know. I mean, that is a pretty small number for weapon damage, so probably a bit of a nerf. Ivy Stone Form tier 3 spirit scaling reduced from 1.7 to 1.5. Kelvin Frozen Shelter cooldown reduced from 195 to 185. Lady Geist Life Drain changed from 75% damage to heal to 100%. Life Drain DPS reduced to provide the same effective heal as before, but with less DPS. Malice damage amplification reduced from 8% to 7%, and Malice tier 3 increased from 7% damage amp to 8%. This is all like nothing. I don't know what is even the point of these changes. Mina Sanguine Retreat recast time increased from 3.5 to 4 seconds. Sanguine Retreat tier 3 cast range increased from 3 to 4 meters. Mina is actually a very interesting character. I watched Vegas's tier list video, and I agree a lot with what he said about Mina, which is like, she's just on the border of being OP again, and they're gonna do something that like pushes her over the edge and makes her OP, which this probably won't be it. I think she'll still be like still good, but not broken. But I can definitely see them doing something that just makes her broken again. Mirage Fire Scarab's duration reduced from 7 to 5 seconds. Fire Scarab's tier 2 reduced from plus 2 charges to plus 1 charge. Fire Scarab's tier 2 now also increases duration by 2 seconds. Dust Devil tier 3 no longer increases lift duration by 0.3 seconds. Fixed Jin's Mark tier 3 still being minus 1 second cooldown instead of 0.75 seconds. now starts immediately. Okay. Is that has to be like an April Fool's joke, right? Combo now lets you use items while using it. Okay. This is the first. I am genuinely baffled by this. Especially the burrow change. That is